Throughout the first 2 years of the Civil War, Stonewall Jackson emerges as the triumphant right hand of General Robert E. Lee. But after a victory at Fredericksburg, Lee and Jackson face a new threat. The man chosen to replace Ambrose Burnside, an ambitious general, Joseph Hooker. Determined to do what McClellan and Burnside could not, Hooker sends an overwhelming force on a daring march to outflank the Confederates.
Hooker launches an attack that catches Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson off guard. They're outnumbered, but they need to come up with a plan of attack.
Thank you, Captain.
What do you propose, General?
I'll take the route marked on Mr. Hotchkiss's map, with my entire corps.
Jackson's plan is to march 26,000 men around Hooker's forces into the dense tangled forest known as the Wilderness, and launch a surprise attack on the vulnerable far right flank of the Union Army.
The Union right was way out in the middle of the woods, where nobody thought anybody was ever going to be going. Hooker sent this force out there, the 11th Corps, with General O.O. Howard.
Read them und weep, boys.
A lot of the soldiers in his command were German, and they're all just sort of sitting there because they think they're far from the action.
Jackson takes his men around and smashes into that dangling end of Hooker's force. It's a total surprise and just rolls them all back up toward the headquarters. It's a complete, utter victory.
Red, no! Stand your ground, damn it!
Though Jackson has made bold, audacious moves on the battlefield before, he's never attempted anything as risky as his plan to attack the Union flank. The strategy at Chancellorsville will go down in military history as an example of daring and innovative leadership, and evidence of an exceptional relationship between two brilliant men.
Fight, damn it!
Jackson's sudden attack starts an avalanche of Union retreat. As the right flank completely folds, Hooker's army is trapped in a deadly vice between Jackson to the west and Robert E. Lee to the east. Stonewall Jackson, invigorated by the fight, continues to push forward, without letting his troops know that he's riding ahead of their lines.
Jackson has produced the makings of a great victory. But it's not enough, because he still needs to go and check the line, and he wants to do it himself. And he's doing it despite the fact that he'll be coming back into his own lines without the benefit of daylight.
It's the enemy. They're building fortifications. You feel it, Lieutenant? We're close. My religious belief teaches me to feel as safe in battle as in bed. God has fixed the time of my death. I do not concern myself about that. That is the way all men should live. Then all would be equally brave. The danger is over. The enemy is routed. We cannot stop until we crush them for good. Press right on.
Must be Yankee cavalry.
Cease fire! You're firing into your own men!
It's alive! Pour it into him, boys!
Hold your gun! Watch out! Hold your gun! Cease fire! You shot the general! Get his leg!
Must be Yankee cavalry.
Cease fire! You're firing into your own men!
It's alive! Pour it into him, boys!
Hold your fire! Hold your fire! Cease fire!
Stonewall Jackson's flank attack at Chancellorsville is his greatest battlefield triumph. But, trying to continue the fight after dark, he runs ahead of his own lines.
Confederate soldiers, understandably jumpy, mistake Jackson and his men for Union officers, and they fire.
General, you hurt? Come on. Get his leg. I'm afraid the arm's ruined. We're gonna have to amputate it. Immediately.
Do for me whatever you think best, Dr. McGuire. What an infinite blessing.
Sweet Father in heaven.
Stonewall Jackson's shattered left arm is amputated just below the shoulder.
Thomas.
Please, call for Dr. McGuire.
Jackson is recuperating. And then what happens is, again, really common in the war, he catches pneumonia. He is up for a couple days, and then he heads downhill very, very, very quickly.
As Jackson's condition worsens, friends and family come to his side, except for Robert E. Lee, who is dealing with the aftermath of the stunning victory that Stonewall Jackson makes possible.
The Battle of Chancellorsville is an amazing feat of American arms. It's perhaps the best battle ever fought by Americans. He has taken the Union Army and thrashed it. Stonewall Jackson really made all the difference.
The Battle of Chancellorsville is both General Lee's greatest triumph and one of the Confederacy's most demoralizing tragedies. The rebel victory opens the door for another chance to invade the North. But the critical injury of Stonewall Jackson may prove to be a loss too great for the South to overcome.
Lee understands what Jackson means for him. I don't think Jackson understood what he meant for Lee, because Jackson was a much bigger picture kind of person. He saw himself within God's unfolding plan, and if this is the time that he is to die, so be it.
You called for me, sir?
Colonel Walker, you have served God and country with valor. I see it only proper that you now take over command of the Stonewall Brigade.
It would be my honor, General.
Thomas Jackson, reborn as Stonewall in the crucible of war, now gives his old command to the man who once challenged him to a duel, James Walker, changing him forever into Stonewall Jim.
It's okay. Come sit down.
Order AP Hill to prepare for action.
Stonewall Jackson, Robert E. Lee's greatest general and the Confederacy's greatest hope, lingers near death after the Battle of Chancellorsville.
Order AP Hill to prepare for action. Let us cross over the river and rest under the shade of the trees.
News of Jackson's death soon makes its way to Robert E. Lee.
General, are you all right?
General Jackson lost his left arm. And now I have lost my right. You have heard of the death of General Jackson. It is a terrible loss. I do not know how I can replace him.
Tens of thousands come to see Jackson's body as it makes its way to Richmond, then to the Virginia Military Institute, where it lies in state in the same classroom where he was once ridiculed as a professor.
This was the first great outpouring of national grief for a fallen hero in American history. The only thing I can equate it to would be if George Washington had died on the battlefield at Yorktown. And the South absolutely was shattered by it.
Stonewall Jackson dies at the peak of his power, a world-famous general, blessed with the family he always wanted, and poised to be the South's conquering hero. His devotion to the rebel cause and relentless pursuit of total victory inspires the Confederacy. Robert E. Lee will try to follow Jackson's example by boldly pushing north, but without his right arm, Lee faces the difficult task of finding another general to unleash on the Union Army. The name of Stonewall Jackson becomes as powerful in death as it is in life. An immortal symbol of valor in war, and the broken dreams of a cause that many know is already lost.
We march north again and advance into Pennsylvania here.
Now that General Jackson is gone, perhaps we can wait and make the enemy come to us.
The way to honor General Jackson is to attack the Yankees and crush them for good.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help us produce more compelling historical content like this, please like, comment below, and share this video with fellow history buffs. And of course, be sure to subscribe to help keep history happening.